I'd like to welcome everybody here to a moment in history. Where I'm standing right now is Oak Street in New Orleans. We're going to start our journey here in front of Oak Wine Bar, which is a place where I work. If you ever come down to New Orleans, stick your head inside there and, who knows, maybe you'll see me. But this is Oak Street, uptown. And forgive me for walking very, very slowly, because ice is very slippery. I don't know if you know this about things that are slippery. Sometimes if you walk on them, you fall over. Inside there is where I work. So this is the morning after a very historic snowstorm in New Orleans. I say very historic because since we started keeping history, there has never been a weather phenomena like this. Not in any of the hurricanes we've tracked, not in any of the, record cold temperatures, which we have not broken, by the way. It is not colder here than it has ever been in New Orleans. But what I will say is that it is very historic because of just how deep this snow is. It was recorded to be 8 inches at the airport. Other places it was recorded to be about a foot. Here it seems like it's about maybe 5 inches. This is Juan's Flying Burrito. I'm going to be honest. I'm from California. Juan's Flying Burrito is not as good as some of the Mexican food we have over there, but if I'm being honest, it's still pretty good. And this is what one of the side streets would look like. It would look like, it's what it does look like. Because a phenomenon like this is unlikely to repeat itself. Unlikely to repeat itself in my lifetime, at least. It probably has happened before. This area has been around, for millions of years, the same as anywhere else in the earth. But what I mean is that human history is a very delicate sort of thing. The ancient Greeks detailed all kinds of things. They detailed hurricanes and blizzards, earthquakes, volcanoes, freak weather phenomena over hundreds of years of their civilization's existence, and other ancient civilizations also detailed their weather phenomena. And some of them were actually able to track and find exact days for. Like, for example, incredibly historic volcanic eruptions. We're able to dig cores of ice in the Antarctic. We're able to dig for cores of ice and find exactly when that volcanic ash was deposited. So we can find eruptions from hundreds of millions of years ago. We can't find their exact dates. Things that we can find exact dates for are things like eclipses. Eclipses, because the moon follows a very specific trajectory, and there's no air or really anything to get in its way of doing what it's doing. We can figure out exactly when an eclipse has happened. So we have exact dates in the hundreds BC of when historically recorded eclipses happened. Now, why do I bring all this up? I bring all this up because today is January 22nd, 2025, an ordinary calendar day by any metric, and not a particularly great one in terms of world events, but it is a day that will be marked in history, a day in which thousands of New Orleanians took to the streets, had the fun of their lives, took 1 million photos, took 1 million videos, and I am now contributing to this dearth of photos and videos, and they are so common today and yesterday when the snow was falling. But in the future, this will be very, very uncommon. I will not be able to come back here and say the things that I have just said. I can't come back here and think about all the things that I love in the future, all the people I haven't fallen in love with yet, all the things that I haven't done. I am unable to come back to January 22nd, 2025. I just have now. And I'm struck by the historicity of it all, if that even is a word. The fact that it probably has happened before, but not in recorded history. Not anything that we have dates for, not anything that we have the Gregorian calendar for. So I trudged through the snow in a small suburban neighborhood. Wow, it's urban. Hello. Just recording a video as a keepsake, you know. Yeah. Talking about philosophy and, you know, all that kinds of stuff. It's whatever. I do too, but you know what? You know, it all makes you feel kind of small. I like thinking about it, but, you know, conflicting feelings and all that. So, yeah. I walk through this neighborhood, and I can't go back. I can't come back here. I mean, I live here, and I could come back to this spot, but it won't look like this. I can't come back to this moment in history, because this moment in history is truly, truly special. None of this has happened in any of our lifetimes. I am showing you an event that has happened before, surely, but that has not happened like this. It hasn't happened here. It hasn't happened in New Orleans on top of cars. It hasn't happened in New Orleans on top of, you know, with smartphones, with accurate to the metric. Like, it hasn't happened like this ever. So much of this is historic. None of the people alive have ever seen anything like this. When I say this shatters records, it's because the previous record was about 2.5 inches of snow in 1963. So everybody I'm walking past, you know, probably don't have memories that go back that far, or if they do, they're very warped from the very different people they were at the time. So I bring this to you as a time capsule of a moment in history, and hopefully you're able to reflect on just how much each moment can mean to you, how much you can bring the happiness, how much of all of this is possible day in and day out. It doesn't have to be something special to be a moment in history. It doesn't have to be something special to be someplace you always come back to. It just has to be something meaningful that you can take into your life and go, you know, I'm glad that happened. I'm glad I was here to see what I saw. Maybe nobody cares but me, but I care, and I was here, and I can say I was here, and it'll always mean something to me. And I want you to know that even if you're not here, you could be here today. Not physically, but metaphorically and spiritually. You could be on that street corner right there, waving at me. And I would feel it. Because the snow isn't special. It's happened before. What's special is what it landed on yesterday. Landed on my favorite city in the United States. Landed on thousands of wonderful people with a wonderful culture and wonderful food. Landed on people's cars and people's businesses and the streetcar line, which is not running, because if I was a streetcar, I would not want to be running in that either. And that hasn't happened before. Very first ever blizzard warning issued by the government of Louisiana, because government of Louisiana hasn't been around that long. This has all happened before, but we don't remember it. What's special about this one is that we've made sure to remember it, and we'll never let it go. And I hope this stands as evidence that I was here and that you were here too. Thank you so much for listening to me.